καλέσω στο βήμα τον κύριο Μπάιστερμπος, ο οποίος είναι ο επικεφαλής της ομάδας της Ευρωπαϊκής Κεντρικής Τράπεζας για την Ελλάδα, για να απευθύνει τη δική του ομιλία για την πορεία της ελληνικής οικονομίας. Mr. Μπάιστερμπος, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you to the organizers for inviting me here today. The organizers have asked me to talk about Greece's bet for resilient and sustainable growth for the next 5 years. So I will offer a few remarks on that, my personal views, and as you can see, I'm not Greek, so I will give a European perspective on that topic. It's fitting we gather here today in this vibrant city to talk about Greece's bet for resilient growth and sustainable growth. As the historic gateway to the Balkans and the Union, Thessaloniki has always been a crossroads of commerce, culture, and innovation. From the ancient Via Egnatia, connecting east and west to the bustling port, driving trade today, this city embodies the interconnectedness of economies. The city is a source of inspiration for the Greek economy. After enduring one of its most profound modern crises, Greece is not just recovering, it is transforming. The key question is how to grow in a sustainable way, how to grow in a resilient way, leveraging Greece's strong ties with Europe and beyond. Now let's begin by acknowledging the scale of the challenge that Greece faced. The financial crisis that erupted in 2010 brought Greece to its knees. GDP per capita plummeted by a quarter, unemployment soared to something like 27%, public debt ballooned, creating an economic and social crisis of historic proportions. Most of the following decade, Greece went through a painful adjustment process, marked by fiscal consolidation and structural reforms. But today, we gather here not to dwell on the crisis, but to celebrate the remarkable progress that Greece has made. This is a story of recovery, resilience, and renewal. One that inspires hope, but also one that reminds us of the work that still lies ahead. Now, the signs of recovery are undeniable. Greece's GDP has been growing steadily in recent years, driven by exports and domestic demand, supported by several structural reforms. Since 2021, real GDP per capita has grown by more than 10%. And that's a much stronger performance than the euro area as a whole. The unemployment rate has fallen to single digits, marking a dramatic improvement in labor market conditions. The banking sector, once crippled by non-performing loans amounting to around 50% of the total loan portfolio during the crisis, has made extraordinary progress. Thanks to targeted reforms like the Hercules Asset Protection Scheme, the NPL ratio now stands at something like 3.6% in the first quarter of the year. It has fallen significantly and has converged to the euro area average of slightly above 2%. This is more than just a statistic. It's a testament of the resilience of the financial sector and its renewed capacity to support the real economy. Fiscal performance has been another cornerstone of Greece's recovery. By 2024, Greece achieved a primary surplus of 4.8% of GDP and an overall budget surplus of 1.3% of GDP. Fiscal discipline, underpinned by improved tax collection, structural reforms, has also allowed Greece to repay its IMF loans ahead of schedule. A remarkable milestone that signals restored market confidence. Moreover, earlier repayments to official European creditors are ongoing. But while we celebrate these achievements, we must also confront the challenges that remain. The road ahead demands continued efforts. Let me highlight 4 challenges. First, the production model must evolve further. recent growth, Greece's GDP per capita, purchasing parity terms, remains around 2/3 of the euro area average. And that reflects structural challenges, especially lagging productivity, investment, and a relatively strong reliance on specific sectors. While tourism has been a vital growth engine, it accounted for something like 1/5 of total exports last year, depending a little bit on what you include and how you count that. But it is among the highest in the euro area, underscoring the need for more diversification. Another structural challenge, and you all know this, is that Greece has many small firms with limited capacity to export. Around half of the workforce is employed by companies with fewer than 10 employees. That's the highest share in the euro area. And addressing that requires a business environment that supports economic activity and investment. Second challenge, the labor market faces pressures. Although unemployment has declined, Greece still grapples with low labor force participation, particularly among women, and the lingering effects of the brain drain during the crisis years. Now, encouragingly, there are signs of a brain gain in recent years as skilled workers begin to return. But indicators of skill mismatches remain more pronounced in Greece than in other European countries. Firms report that it's challenging to find staff with the right skills, while at the same time more than 400,000 people remain unemployed. Many of these people have been unemployed for a long time. Third challenge, financial sector must continue to adapt. While progress in reducing NPLs in the banking system has been remarkable, significant challenges remain. Loans outside the banking system, most of which are non-performing, still account for around 1/3 of GDP. And reducing them has been slow due to obstacles in debt restructuring, judicial processes. A thriving financial sector also requires diversifying financing options for small and medium-sized companies beyond traditional bank financing. Capital market development, both at the national and certainly also at the EU level, remains a priority to ensure that businesses have access to the funds they need to innovate and grow. Fourth and final challenge, public debt. The decline in Greece's public debt to GDP ratio from something like 197% of GDP, close to 200% back in 2021, to just above 153 last year, has been impressive. But this ratio remains among the highest in the world. While manageable under current conditions, and thanks to favorable loan terms, the size of this debt exposes Greece, especially in a more volatile macroeconomic environment. In its medium-term fiscal structural plan, the government projects this strong decline to continue in the coming years, towards something like 133% of GDP in 2028, that GDP ratio. Sticking to that downward trajectory will be crucial to sustain market confidence. Now let's briefly look ahead. Greece's journey continues with a clear trajectory. A clear roadmap will further enhance the trust of markets in the performance of the economy.
When you build with bauxite, you build like Arnold. Wow. Look at that pump. Learn from the best. Always room for improvement. You got this.
Greece could continue to focus on 3 key pillars. Let me mention those 3 pillars, and then I'll come to a conclusion. First pillar, diversify its economy. To create a more resilient production model, Greece can foster innovation and expand into higher value sectors such as technology, renewable energy, advanced manufacturing. I know a lot has already been happening there, certainly on the renewable energy front. For instance, investments in digital infrastructure could enable the growth of tech startups. Encouraging partnerships between universities and businesses can further drive research and development, while targeted incentives can attract foreign investment into these high potential industries. By diversifying its economy, Greece can achieve more resilient and sustainable growth. Second key pillar I want to highlight, empowering the workforce. What do I mean by that? Economic diversification cannot succeed without a skilled and adaptable workforce. Addressing the labor market challenges I mentioned earlier requires two things. First is strong education, vocational training. Second is tackling the barriers to labor force participation. By empowering its workforce, Greece not only builds the human capital necessary to drive innovation and productivity, but it also increases economic diversity and diversification. Third and final point, strengthen institutions. Resilient and sustainable economic growth hinges on robust and efficient institutions, and we will remember the Nobel Prize for Economics last year awarded to people who first demonstrated convincingly that insight, the link between strong institutions, quality of institutions, and long-term economic growth. An official judicial system, for instance, is critical to improving the business environment and attracting investment. Streamlining judicial processes and reducing delays in resolving disputes can enhance legal certainty, a key factor for domestic and international investors. In addition to quality of institutions, and therefore economic growth, will benefit from reducing bureaucratic hurdles and improving the ease of doing business. So here's the bottom line. Greece's story is not just one of recovery, but of transformation. It's proof that even in the face of immense challenges, nations can emerge stronger, more resilient, and more determined to succeed. My support.